The following program is a Town of Colonie television production of the William K. Sanford Town Library.
Well, welcome to Albany County News. I'm Mary Rozak, the Director of Communications for Albany County. And in the next 30 minutes or so, we're going to be talking about something very important to both you, to me. Maybe you have children, maybe you don't. But we are going to talk about the Albany County Department for Children, Youth, and Families. And joining me today is the Commissioner of the Department, Gail Geohagen-Pratt. Welcome.
Thanks, Mary.
And you have a couple of children yourself.
Two very active 3-year-olds.
Wow. So you've got your hands full.
And then some, yes.
And you work every day advocating for and with a department that assists children and families.
Yes, so it actually is a good balance, if you will, in terms of what I do professionally and also with my role as a parent. I think it actually lends itself to the job that I do because I actually have a personal perspective and level of commitment that I bring to it as well.
Mm-hmm. So I think probably there are times when you're bringing things from home or some insight from home that may help in the office and vice versa. Sure.
Definitely some insight from the office that lends itself to home. But again, I think it also lends itself to having a real, for me, personally speaking, it lends a real world perspective in terms of I know what I'm encountering at home and in terms of the interactions that I'm having with my children. And so I think that perspective lends itself to when we're looking at policies and we're looking at practices and we're looking at, when we're interfacing with families and children, some of the decision-making points and practices and how to be able to bring what I think is a balanced approach in terms of decisions that are being made.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk. I know you've been here before, and we are going to talk about some specific programs. But for those who need a refresher, when we think about the Department for Children, Youth, and Families, we may not really know, a lot of us out there, what that means and what the work is that you do, or may have a very narrow idea of what it is. What is the mission? What does the department do?
Okay, and so I will say that the Department for Children, Youth, and Families is one of the very few departments where there is actually an integrated child welfare department. In most counties across New York State, it's the Department of Social Services that encompasses both the eligibility programs as well as the child welfare program. So Albany, along with Onondaga, are the only two counties in New York State that actually has carved out the child welfare department. And so what it allows is for us to integrate those children and family services. So we have our Child Protective, we have our Children's Mental Health Clinic, we have the Division of Special Needs, and we have our Youth Bureau. And that really allows us to look at seamless service delivery and really hopefully to be able to then better serve the children and families that we're interfacing with in terms of building collaborations, in terms of building partnerships, and really overall hopefully having a more effective delivery service.
I don't want to speak for everyone, but I think probably CPS, Child Protective, is probably what people think about when they think about the department. So there's so much. That's 25%, so to speak, of the four different
exactly.
areas.
And even within Child Protective, I think there's oftentimes a limited perspective as to what Child Protective does. Sometimes that's based on maybe what people see on TV or what's portrayed in the media, or just not having the broad scope. So yes, there is the Child Protective in terms of going out and investigating reports of suspected abuse and neglect, but there's also a great aspect in terms of prevention, in terms of programs, in terms of services. And so that's what we like to highlight, that yes, there is the aspect where we go out and we do investigations, but there's also the other component where we're actually, if we are interfacing with families, that we're looking at what programs and services we might be able to provide, because the ultimate goal is to see a family being able to have self-sufficiency and being able to meet their needs.
And we'll talk about some of those specific programs that fall under that in just a moment. But since we are talking about the four different aspects, let's talk a little bit children's mental health is another area. So, in order, how does that work? Does someone call the county, or is someone referred to the county, or how does that work for mental health assistance?
It could be both. So it could be a referral process. It could also be calling directly. The Children's Mental Health Clinic does have a criteria in terms of we're serving children that have been diagnosed with serious emotional disturbance, SED, but we're also able to serve children that may not meet that level of criteria, but that's usually the gateway in terms of being able to access services. And so, you can have a parent who is has a child that has been diagnosed with SED, and so being able to reach out directly to our services, 447-4550, and certainly also through referrals through a primary care physician, through a school, through a community-based organization. That's also another way that you're able to access services.
The Youth Bureau.
Yes.
So that takes us in another different direction.
And so that's our youth development programs. And so that's really about how to be able to have programs maybe for after school, during the summer months. What are those programs within the community that we're able to link families to? There's the old adage, idle hands are a devil's workshop. And so really being able to have linkages to programs and services so that children have something positive to be able to engage in. And so, we collaborate with various programs in the community, such as the Boys and Girls Club, such as PAL, the Police Athletic League, various programs throughout the community in order to be able to have access to programs and services for youths.
And I know that that the Youth Bureau then would work with another county department, with the Recreation Department.
Correct. So we also have the Albany Recreational Bureau that are providing programs such as karate, lacrosse, learn to swim, learn to skate. So that is a great partnership in terms of just broadening the programs and services that are available. And actually, starting July 3rd, we're going to have our Lawson Lake programming. So that's another resource. And actually, the Boys and Girls...
Which takes place throughout the summer, because this will be airing at various times throughout the summer. Yep.
So yes, it goes from July 3rd to August, the third Friday in August. The programming will be available there. And so the Boys and Girls Club would be a point of access in terms of being able to engage in the activities through the Lawson Lake summer programming.
And something very recently, the Youth Bureau, not all that long ago, had a spectacular event, the Youth Recognition Awards.
Yes, that's one of my favorites. And so this is an annual event where we recognize 10 youth, 5 from the middle school and 5 from the high school, who have really overcome adversity to achieve success. And so some of the areas that we're recognizing is in community service. We have the Lieutenant Finn Community Service Award. We're looking at those that have really turned around their academic progress and may have started out not doing so well, but by the end of the year have really been able to achieve academic success. We're also recognizing those that display really creativity in the arts, and that could be through drawings, it could be musically, dance. It really encompasses the arts in a very broad manner. We also recognize those that have achieved athletic success. We have the George Rowe Athletic Award in recognition of George Rowe and his work in the Ward of Elite community.
Well, it's wonderful, and I know that that this year's theme, it was like a red carpet event, and it well, you've had it in all of the others that since I've been there, all of the other themes have been very interesting. I was drawn to.
Well, there is something about as you walk in when there are flashing lights in front of you and the paparazzi and the red carpet. Certainly the executive director Nicole Ward really did an outstanding job, and really just wanted the youths that were being recognized to feel really special. And so all that you can think of that is entailed when you have a red carpet event, she paid real special attention to detail to facilitate that. And I think we were able to see it in the youth that night, that they really felt special. And I will tell you that we had some really poised youth. They were able to, when they came up to receive their award, just really eloquently just being able to talk about either what circumstances that they had experienced or just in terms of really showing appreciation to the person who nominated them, as well as their families, as well as others who have had a really positive role in their life. It was really, really quite moving. One of my favorites.
Yeah,
one of
definitely,
my favorites.
Definitely. We are talking with Gail Geohagen-Pratt, the Commissioner for the Albany County Department of Children, Youth, and Families. You know, it's one of those events that we're talking about that, you know, you give positive reinforcement. Give positive reinforcement to our kids at various levels. You teach them and nurture them while they are young, and will have, in all likelihood, a positive outcome. There are many things that go into that developmentally, and let's talk about some of the other programs that are offered, some of the other activities and things. You've got something brand spanking new coming up at Crossgates Mall.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
So we're really excited about this. It's the Daddy, Mommy, and Me program. It's going to be 3 sessions that are going to be offered consecutively. The first one beginning July 20th, the second one July 27th, and the third one on August 3rd. Those are Thursdays from 10:30 to 11:30 a.m. And these sessions are going to be facilitated by those staff with our Healthy Families program. And our Healthy Families is when you talk about, you know, child development and success of youth, it really starts from the very beginning, and that actually we're talking about prenatally. And so with our Healthy Families program, we work with families with children that are from a prenatal up to the age of 5, because the research shows that 0 to 3 and then 0 to 5 time frame is really key in the development of children. And if we want to promote success throughout the age spectrum, really starting at those key age stages. And so
and I know that I think I think at some graduation ceremonies that you've had for families and children participating.
Yes, and so at that marker of either age 3, where they graduate on to Head Start, or at 5 when they graduate on to kindergarten, it's really, we call it the bridge ceremony, because it's bridging from their time with the Healthy Families program into their next journey along that path, whether it's into Head Start or into kindergarten. And so the Healthy Families program, we have what we call family support workers, and they go into the homes sometimes on a weekly basis if it's a family that's new to the program, or, you know, we get to a point where it may be just on a monthly or even quarterly basis as the family makes gains in terms of their own self-sufficiency. And the goal is to work with the families on child development to ensure that youth are meeting developmental stages, that they're achieving those milestones. We also work on parent-child interactions. That's so important in terms of the bond that that parent and that child has towards the success of the child and the parent. And also self-sufficiency. Again, at the end of the day, just in general, across all the programs of the department, we really want to see families be able to achieve self-sufficiency and be able to advocate for themselves.
So being at the bridge ceremonies, I mean, it really is about, you know, recognizing the family, as you said, recognizing the family as a whole. And so oftentimes food brings us together. So being able to see, you know, people sharing, you know, whether it's pizza or subs or sharing a meal, sharing some cake, and really celebrating where they are, it's important.
Yes, we say, feed them and they will come.
And this is true. Feed me and I'll be there, right? But there are other things. So there's this Daddy, Mommy, and Me. When we talk about, as I'm looking at the flyer, we talk about developmental games, reading, nutrition. What are developmental games, and what will parents who are hearing about this, because everyone is welcome, correct?
Absolutely.
What can they expect? They come at 10:30, and it's something to, you know, that particular session is developmental games. What is that about?
So it's really, again, about achieving the milestones. So there will be activities that will help with grasping. There will be activities that will help with walking, you know, depending on the age of the child and what their developmental milestone should be based on their age. There will be activities that are geared towards that. So it will be under the guise of a game, but really it's actually supporting those developmental milestones. So we will actually have different activities to accommodate the different age developmental stages. So we'll have activities that will be geared towards those that are 12 months and under. We'll have activities that are geared towards those are toddlers, and then we'll have those that are geared to ones that are older, more of your preschool age. But the idea is how to ensure that children are achieving those developmental milestones, and how to have activities that will engage them, that they'll find fun, but at the same time, it is also serving the purpose of making sure that they're making those gains that they need to.
So reading. Will that'll be a separate session?
That will be a separate session. And again, when we're talking about development, so important, the research shows that reading in utero, that is a positive benefit even before the child is actually physically here. And then continuing that. So, again, at a certain age, the child is just there listening. But again, they're hearing words, they're hearing sounds, and, depending on the amount of enthusiasm that is put into the reading, they're hearing the different inflections. And so that's part, again, of their development. And then as they get older, there are different ways to be able to interact with your child as you're reading. So, in terms of not just necessarily reading the words off the page, but, pointing to the pictures and saying, what's that? Can you tell me? What color is that? Oh, there's a pig. What sound does that pig make? And so really involving them in the reading process. And then hopefully creating an enjoyment for reading that will continue on with them.
And if I understood you correctly earlier before we chatted, everyone's going to walk away with a book.
Yes, they are. So we're excited about that. We have our partners with ACCA, and they will have books as well as the department has some books as well. So, that's something that anyone who comes and wants, they'll be able to take a book with them.
It's always nice to be able to invite people in, see the enjoyment, and then be able to take some of that home and continue that.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you that we've had other activities where we've had books, and they have been a real hit in terms for the families and the children being able to see a book and choose something for themselves,
Do people have to register in advance for this, or are they just showing up that
They
day?
can just show up at Crossgates.
Okay, and I should let everyone know that that's going to be at Crossgates Mall near the Lucky Strike Social on the first floor. You're also going to be doing a nutrition information class.
Yes, we're going to be working in conjunction with Cornell Cooperative Extension. And so again, nutrition is an important aspect of childhood development, and in terms of having good nutrition for the brain to develop. And so, sometimes it can be challenging, especially at a young age. Children can be very picky eaters, ask me how I know. And so how to be able to introduce foods, and, maybe there are ways to introduce foods that can be fun. So especially
So it's not just chicken nuggets and mac and cheese.
Now you sound like you're at my house. No. But it's really, there's ants on a log. Probably not, because it involves a peanut butter, but just things that children are able to be interactive with. So,
Ants on a log is peanut butter and
the celery stick with the peanut butter with the raisins.
The raisins.
Ants
Okay, I
on a
was
log.
trying to figure out what the ants were. Okay.
But with peanut allergies these days, that
Sure,
would
you
not
can't
be
do that,
right.
sure.
But again, it's the idea of how to be able to introduce foods to children, and then also how to bring them in on it in terms of the preparation, and how to make it so that it might be more appealing to them to try something that is new to them, or they might not otherwise want to.
There's something neat. I know that that you weren't able to make it, but recently ShopRite announced they have a kids club card where any child 12 or under will get a card for a ticket for either a free piece of fresh fruit or a cookie. And it's kind of a neat thing that when parents are bringing their kids, it's a teachable moment. It's hard to spend quality time when you're a working mom, and I'm sure your kids have gone to the grocery store with you on more than one occasion, right?
Yes, which always makes it that much more interesting. But I will tell you,
how many things have you found that you've put there, right?
Exactly. But as you're talking about bringing them in and having teachable moments, I actually there are some supermarkets that actually have the mini carts that children can push along as well, and I think that also brings them into the process in terms of how to make decisions about what we're we're going to put in our cart and what we're not. So I think anytime that you have the opportunity to model and to be interactive is always a good teachable moment.
Sure, and what better place than the grocery store? People like things that are visually appealing. And let's face it, you go into a produce section, I mean, I'm sorry, but my favorite fruit has always been a potato chip. So when you say that, when you go into a produce section, and I am just enthralled, the colors, it's so inviting. And so if you learn at a young age, and when you're attracted to those pretty things that you're looking at and they've gotten your attention, and then you're trying them, what a great way to get that nutrition.
And this is the
message
perfect
across.
time of year. It's summer, so there's an abundance of a variety of fruits, and the colors are just popping. Yeah, you're right. Most supermarkets, you walk in the door, and that is the first section that you're going to walk into.
Sure.
So, we eat not only with our mouths, but with our eyes.
Sure.
So, again, yes, that visual appeal.
Well, you're going to have to take your children to ShopRite to do the choice that
Do I
fruit.
get their cookie ticket?
Well, it's a choice of one or the other. So
Right,
we'll see.
the fruit,
We'll see.
the fruit.
You can take a bite out of the apple or the banana or the clementine. There's something else that's visually appealing and a lot of fun that every summer that the Healthy Families Program hosts the teddy bear picnic.
Yes, another one of my faves. I actually worked with the Healthy Family Program for about a year and a half, 2 years, and so there's a personal connection to it. And the Teddy Bear Picnic is definitely one of the highlights. And so it's an opportunity really to bring our families that are a part of the program, and as well for them to invite others to come out. And it's a very fun event. There is a cookout, so burgers, hot dogs. And it's also an opportunity just for the families themselves to have an opportunity to mingle and to network and to create support systems. Because again, as you talk about, all the things that, families are balancing these days, in addition to, trying to raise their kids the best that they can, a big part of that is having a support system. So, that includes maybe your immediate family, but it also extends beyond that in terms of the community and building friendships.
Yep.
And so, with the Healthy Families, the emphasis is on families. And so it's really that sort of approach that our workers bring to the program. And so that's a highlight for them too in regards to the Teddy Bear Picnic, because it's actually an opportunity for them to show off their families.
Sure.
And to really brag, if you will, in terms of how their families are doing. And
it's fun. There's food, there's music, there's usually face painting.
And the kids are cute.
There's law enforcement there that talk about
Yes.
different things as well.
And also for families to be able to do identification cards. So, that's an important in terms of, safety of children. So, God forbid, if there should ever be a circumstance where a child goes missing, at least if the family has been able to create that identification card and that child's information is in the database, that is an opportunity to at least have that information to start whatever process needs to happen to locate that child.
So summers are definitely very busy with all kinds of different activities going on. But summer will be over in like
Blink
that.
and you miss it.
And before the summer is over, I know that the Department for Children, Youth, and Families has a school supplies drive.
Yes. So, again, it's the theme of success of children. And so, some of the families that interface with the department may not necessarily have the means to be able to access the necessary materials that they need for school. And so the department does do a back to school drive. And really anything that you can think of that a child may need in school is what, is certainly what we are very appreciative of people donating. We have boxes that are located down at the county office building, 112 State Street in the lobby, and we also have boxes at the Albany County Nursing Home. Mm-hmm. And so it's an opportunity for, there's 2 separate sites, and certainly if, someone is not able to come to one of the sites, they can certainly reach out to us and we would come and pick it up.
And that's usually throughout the month of August is when those boxes
we
are
start.
set.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because folks may not think of this, but tissues, Kleenex is actually
Really?
I know, right? You think of notebooks, pencils, pens, things along those lines. But as you go into schools and children, germs, and we're entering into the fall and winter season, so cold. So actually, boxes of tissue is actually a good one too.
Wow. Okay, we'll have to keep that in mind because I seem to have missed that on the list every year. And when you said once we head into fall and colds, that 4-letter word of cold, old being
Yes.
operative. DCYF is in charge of the Adoptive Family Program.
Yes. And so, again, the Adoptive Family Program really is there to support those families who, again, may not have the means around the holiday time to be able to have a holiday meal, as well as to have presents and gifts for kids. And so with the Adoptive Family Program, we've had wonderful support from the community. We had well over 300 donors last year that provided gifts for families, and we were able to match 331 families with
Wow.
donors, so that, again, I think I'll say personally, one of the joys about the holiday time is to see the excitement in my kids' faces. That's how I enjoy the holidays. And so, with the families that we're able to serve through the Adoptive Family Program, I think that they are able to participate and also have that as well, and see that joy and excitement in a child's face because they were able to open a gift around the holiday season. And so,
And for those who are hearing about this maybe for the first time, yeah, it may sound a little daunting, but usually groups come together, people come together to adopt a family.
Absolutely. And that's actually what is most time our donors. It's not just an individual, it's usually a group. So you'll have organizations, you'll have corporations. We have college students that will come together and form a group and will adopt a family.
And the way it works, why don't you explain a little bit about how it works?
So actually, in October, we'll start to send out, through our distribution list, we'll start to send out information in regards to the Adoptive Family Program. We'll send out the application and information. Also, Andrea Lemry is one of the persons that oversees this program. 447-4916. You can reach out directly to her, and she can certainly provide that information.
And that's if you want to be considered to be a family.
To be a donor.
To be a donor.
To be a donor,
Oh, there's
yes.
the applications for the donors.
Right.
Okay.
In terms of the families that are referred for the program, that actually comes through our programs at the department. So for any family that is involved with any of the programs and services of the Department of Children, Youth, and Family, then the person at the department that's working with that family is able to assess their need and then submit a referral on their behalf.
Okay, and I know, and I'm not the person who does this from our office, in the county executive's office. I know we all collectively, someone is the person that's responsible for going in and finding the family that we're going to adopt through DCYF, and then we have the lists and then get to, it's fun actually when you see what some of the wish list includes and being able to get those items.
And it's fun to shop, yes.
It's always fun to shop. I'm one of those people, I love being out there at the holidays.
Yes, I participated last year, and it really is. It's fun to shop, and because I don't have girls myself, if I get a family that has girls, I'm done. I'm done.
You're in your glory,
Oh
right?
my gosh! Well, there's so many more things for girls. Oh my gosh, I'm done.
So you've got two boys
I do.
who will be heading into some schooling, not this year? Or
No, actually they did. So Albany City School District actually started their early pre-K program, EPK
Okay.
they call it.
Okay.
So for 3-year-olds, so that's been fabulous. So
Oh,
they
wow.
actually just completed their first year. They graduated, Mary.
They graduated
at 3 years
at 3
old.
years
They
old.
graduated.
Okay.
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 And so,
no little cap and gown, though, right?
yes, cap and gown.
Are you kidding me?
They graduated.
Oh, wow.
So it was really quite cute. And so actually in September, they'll be heading into pre-K 4,
Wow.
which there'll be a graduation at the end of pre-K 4.
Well, I
As
remember
well
when
as
I
a
remember
graduation at the end of kindergarten.
I remember when they were in your tummy. So it seems wow. It seems
I know,
like just
time
yesterday.
flies, yes.
Wow. Well, Gail, thank you. Once again, reminding everyone about Daddy, Mommy, and Me, Crossgates Mall.
Absolutely, would love to see everyone come out.
Yep, the information I'm sure we'll have on our website
Yes.
at albanycounty.com. All right,
Absolutely.
So thank you.
No, thank you, Mary.
Gail Geohagen-Pratt joining us today, Commissioner of the Albany County Department for Children, Youth, and Families. I'm Mary Rozak. This has been Albany County News. We'll see you again soon.
Thanks, Mary.